which is what happens with that land when you're no longer on it. Out there, which is probably a whole lot of where you are, out there in the land, out on the land, whether it's farmland or you've got sprawl, you're living on more than 5,000 square feet of land, got sprawl. That's right. Getting people out of the rural areas, blocking access to wilderness roads and resources, and shifting land ownership from private ownership to public ownership. Public ownership, public agencies do not pay property taxes. You find that your property tax base is reduced, there's more pressure. You get a 12.5% or 12.75% increase in your property taxes. How does that feel? So you say, nobody's getting me out of the rural areas. I got my well, I've got my land, nobody's pushing me out. Well, how high do they have to jack your property taxes before you leave and move into one of those high-density urban developments by the non-existent train station? So by 2002, every planning department and every university had Growing Smart on the shelf. Every planning department, every planner that you meet now has been trained in Growing Smart, a legislative guidebook with model statutes for planning and the management of change. I didn't bring the whole thing because it's 12 pounds. 2 volumes. So, your comprehensive general plan, you've got comp plans here, general plans, right? They require smart growth. In 1980, the state of Virginia required that every city and county have a comprehensive plan. So, what are these things? They are like the wish list, the design, the plan for what your city or county wants to see, the land use that your city or county wants to see. But it's way more than land use. It's a social document as well. It's an environmental document. A social document determines where populations are going to go. It's a transportation document, and it is a land use document. These are required by nearly every state in the United States. Transportation and housing are coming together for the first time. If your municipality wants federal dollars, transportation dollars, they have got to design for smart growth. They have got to plan for smart growth. These are federally funded metropolitan planning organizations. They are all across the United States. They require sustainable community strategies. And this is how your transportation tax dollars are distributed, through your councils of government and your regional boards. Remember I said we are losing our jurisdictional boundaries. You're going to have coordination. Eventually you will have a loss of your jurisdictional boundaries. Why should you care? You're like, oh, so what? What do I care? You care because last time I checked, you elected your local, county and state and federal officials. For whatever it's worth, at least you got a chance there. Not with your regional boards. Those are made up of elected officials. But if you want to get somebody off one of those boards, half the time you don't even know they exist. They break jurisdictional boundaries, they cross the boundaries, and they have an impact on what's happening right now locally in your area. So there's 14 councils of government and MPOs, metropolitan planning organizations in Virginia. These are required to have sustainable community strategies. The Richmond Regional Planning District Commission, Hampton Roads, Thomas Jefferson Regional Planning District Commission, Charlottesville. Okay, so hey, think about this. The Charlottesville, Albemarle, however you guys say that, Albemarle. Oh, what is that? I don't know. What's that? Is that French or something? All right. Okay, they got a $1 million HUD grant for the Livable Planning Project. There's a lot of federal money out there. Who are these federal agencies? Guess what? They served on the President's Council of Sustainable Development. That's who they are. This is all working. It's all going. You're going to be told, oh, yeah, that's a dead plan. 20 years ago, a dusty thing, non-binding, doesn't have anything to do with us. That's just like, did you ever have a kid brother who told you to look over there while they were stealing the cookie off your plate? That's what it is, okay? So, complete streets, transit villages. You're going to have the EPA and HUD grants, nonprofit grants. Hey, Siemens Corporation. I'm getting ahead of myself, but let me just tell you. Siemens, oh, it sounds so cool, man. They do high-speed rail, light rail. They do the grid, the smart grid. They do solar panels. Oh my goodness, they're an engineering firm. All these really helpful things. They give grants, they give awards. Who is Siemens Corporation? During the war, prior to World War II, Siemens is a German corporation. Prior to World War II, the beginning of World War II, they were actually having some financial trouble. In fact, they were about to go bankrupt until Hitler generously granted them slave labor from the camps. Siemens Corporation, along with other corporations like IBM, who was also complicit during World War II, making the punch cards for the Germans, made it possible so that, remember those numbers tattooed on the arms? That wasn't just like you're number 2, you're number 3, you're number 4. No. Those numbers related to which camp you were going into, what you're going to be doing for the next 2 weeks of your life, because that was all it was going to take, or whether you're going to die. They tattooed your arm right before they killed you. Can you believe it? Those cards, the punch cards that were made, the machines actually were made by IBM. IBM was fully aware, made a fully, my brother was like, Rosa, you're out of your mind. Don't you know about the, Trading with the Enemy Act? You can't do that. I said, Steve, they created a wholly owned subsidiary in Germany. And they ran it in Germany. And they made the cards here, and they went back and forth with new cards, and they worked on the machines during the war. Okay, so IBM and Siemens are two big corporations that are involved in sustainable development and implementing this here in the United States. They benefit financially, and they are implementing it. Okay, so these general plans, these comprehensive plans, what they do is they create legally non-conforming situations for people who own property. You got a piece of property, you think it's zoned, you're cool with that. You go down to do something with it, and you find out that it does not conform anymore to your comprehensive plan. Oh no, didn't you come to? We invited you to come on down to one of those 15,000 meetings that we had where we asked your opinion on the new comprehensive plan, where you got Delphi. Oh, you weren't there at the meeting where we decided to do what you didn't want them to do with your property. So you go, well, hey, I'm zoned X, Y, Z. I can. And they're like, no, you can't. You can't do that anymore with your property. Now you're zoned. Now your general plan, your comprehensive plan for mixed use, transit-oriented development. You're like, what transit? There's no transit. They're like, so what? There's going to be transit. And even if there isn't any transit, you're going to do mixed use, high density, residential development, ground floor retail, 12 feet high, built right to the edge of the sidewalk, 2 to 3 or more stories of residential above that. In the alley behind, you'll have one car parking for one car or less per unit. Out in the street, complete streets, you're going to have a bike lane. You're going to have a median. Oh, you can't get the fire truck down there? Well, that's just too bad for you. You're going to have a median down the street. You're going to have your train that doesn't exist. Supposed to, ooh, here it goes. Yeah. Okay. And you've got these high-density development, transit-oriented development, mixed use. You want to go get a loan for that? You have no track record. You are not getting a loan for that because somebody else has a track record, and they are going to be visioning on your property. Visioning. This is when you want to be an optometrist, I'll tell you. This is the ophthalmologist's thrilling experience, because a part of the jargon, I have to tell you this, you've seen these terms, right? I'm going to tell you right now, you want to see Agenda 21, you're going to look at visioning. You heard that term, visioning? Capacity building, strengthening community, consensus building, vibrant, livable, walkable, bikeable, green, yeah, transformation and change. Do you like that thing? That, like, do I have a circle around my head? That's how if you go back and look at photos of Bush, they did that with Bush too. They'd always sort of make it so that the great seal of the country was like right there, so it looked like he had a halo. You're like, what? Crazy? We're stupid? No, we're not. We're not falling for it. I didn't vote for him. Sorry. Okay, that's right. Transit-oriented development. These are subsidies, okay? One Bay Area, they got them. Oh, by the way, let me just tell you that these plans that you're going to see all over, you're going to see it here, what do they call it? The Historic Triangle Collaborative, the Richmond Plan 2035, Vision 2035, Vision 2050, Vision 3000. Let's go after 4,000. What the heck? Let's go for broke. Right. These plans are all the same, all over the United States of America. Now, we are isolated. This is a huge nation we've got. And if it wasn't for me running back and forth across the country, but I mean, other people are talking about this too. You want to know that this is happening everywhere. That, when you go in to get your property, to develop your property, and you get told that you can't do that because you're not in compliance with your comprehensive plan, you're alone. You're just one person going in there and asking with your little, oh, please, sir, may I develop my property? Okay? You're alone. But this is the way that it's imposed on you, is one person and one property at a time. That's why we need to join together. Because if you don't have a property now, you will tomorrow. And if you don't have a property that's being threatened today, your neighbor does. And you need to stand up with your neighbor. You need to stand tall and speak out. So, here's the Marin County. Now, I live in California, Northern California. Marin County is a beautiful rural county. And we have our general plan, our comprehensive plan in Marin County. You can't see this, but so I'll tell you what it is. It's the comprehensive plan that has the United Nations Agenda 21 logo right in it. And that is not unusual at all. You will see this across the United States, an actual acknowledgement of where these principles came from. This is not black helicopter stuff. I don't have a tinfoil hat on. Everything I'm talking about is true. This is having a tremendous impact on our economy right now, and this is the goal. Isn't that an exciting thought? All right? So, regional government is what you're looking at. We're in the planning stages of regional government right now. This is an unelected shadow government. Plan 2035 Richmond, the Historic Triangle Collaborative Vision, these are all being sold to you as economic drivers, right? They're telling you, hey, if you don't do this, man, we're never going to get another job in the whole county. Got it? Woo! Feel that panic? Feel that panic? Communitarianism is dependent on keeping you panicked, unclear, nervous, not thinking clearly,